Fabulous. Good job. We're trying to get the replays of all of these up in the LinkedIn groups. If you want to go back and reference them, they will be going in there. Excited to have a speaker today. Do you want to introduce her properly? Wait. Hi, Bills.
Do you want to introduce her properly?
I mean, I don't have her bio in front of her, but I absolutely will because I know her. All right. So our speaker today is freaking fabulous. One of my favorite things was we went to a marketing world conference together. So her name is Amanda Gonzalez. She is the owner of KeepEdgy and Co, which is she has a background in construction engineering and instructional design marketing, and is a badass woman who works in a man's world and has done it for corporate and now has started her own agency and is her background's in marketing, her degrees in marketing. She lives, sleeps, eats, breathes marketing. And watching her nerd out, we were at a LinkedIn session at Marketing World, sitting on a floor because there were no more seats, and watching her like nerd out over LinkedIn and take all the notes and like wait after to talk to the speaker about like the little things. It was like, okay, she's our LinkedIn girl. I mean, I knew that besides that, but she takes
We hit
LinkedIn
all our
seriously.
pain points.
He did. But she not only takes LinkedIn seriously, but takes LinkedIn seriously consistently for herself, for her clients, for her corporate clients. So she has a different perspective that we haven't really seen a lot yet in this group. So I'm really excited. Without further ado, take it away, Amanda Gonzalez, who's going to be talking about company pages.
Yeah. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you for that. Those are all very nice, kind words. I appreciate it. I've been on the platform for a long time. I've been on the platform since I was in college. I just had a friend that was like, you've got to get yourself, you need an internship, you need all these things. Got me active on LinkedIn, and that really helped me because my first job was in business development and heavy usage on LinkedIn. And so watching the platform migrate into what it is today has been kind of interesting. The platform's actually 20 years old, 21 years old now.
Wow.
There's over 1 billion users on it, and it is still the number one professional networking platform. So if you're attending today, I'm assuming it's because you want to learn about business pages and how to optimize that for yourself or maybe a company that you work for. But I did also kind of create this in a way that if you're not sure and you're still exploring, like, does a business page make sense for me? A part of the exercise at the end will be exploring whether or not that aligns with you. Um, as Kimberly said, my background is very primarily business to business, professional services. So that's kind of the context that I like think of everything in. But again, try to be a little bit bigger picture with this. So I would say like over the last year, we've seen a huge migration towards LinkedIn. I think the platform is really popular for a while. People stayed away from it. And now everybody's coming back because there's so much opportunity on the platform to grow organically. And that's not just from an individual standpoint, but from a company standpoint. We are very much in the era of social networking, social selling in the era of culture and community. So when we think about company pages, I want to think of it in that essence, culture and community. It's a great way to showcase your company's culture, the community you have there. What kind of experience are you going to give to your customers? Are you going to give to prospective talent, et cetera, et cetera? So company pages are a great way to showcase all of those things. LinkedIn in the last couple of years has become a lot more content creator friendly. So I think that's why we've seen a little bit more of a heavy migration back to the platform is because of that feature. So you see things on LinkedIn like we see on other platforms now, which is like making stories, making videos. It's gotten a lot more content creator friendly. So we're seeing a lot more of those younger demographics even take place on this platform. And I mean, I say this all the time. We think of like Gen Z as like teenagers, and that's just not the case anymore. Gen Z is in management positions. They are in the workforce, and very much influencing what we do on social platforms and especially LinkedIn. So today, what I want to help you do is either help you walk away with strategies to build a foundation on LinkedIn or help you refine those things. Or maybe I'm helping you discover whether or not a business page is right for you. I will share with you, I went through that personally myself when I launched my business. I was like, I have to have a company page. And then things have kind of shifted. I'm a solopreneur. I don't have a staff working for me yet. Hopefully one day that's something I'll have. But I created that company profile, and then for personally me, I realized I'm a single consultant, and for me, people want to know about me, and I am the company. So for me, I just realized it's great to have that presence and put resources out there, but people want to hear from me. So keep that in mind when we talk about content between a company page and content between a personal page. I want to start with some common mistakes that I see company pages making. Number one is there's no strategy. It's not consistent. It's just we made it. We thought we needed it. And here it is. Our administrative assistant is just posting stuff, right? It's not consistent. We just don't really have a direction. It's just something we feel like we have to do. And I think when we look at that, we can see that very clearly. Number two is there's no brand presence. It's just kind of boring. And for some people, that might just be, for some companies, is that they haven't really established a brand. Branding is really important to me. Branding is really important to your customers, whether we realize that or not. They may not call it brand, and we may not call it brand when we live in it, but a brand, a presence is extremely important. Number three is not showcasing enough of their community, their staff, that culture, the internal. What is it like to work here? What is it like to work with this company? Showcasing those things. I think that self-promotion is very boring, and so do your customers. So if you're looking at company pages that are like me, yeah, we're kind of tuning people out. The platform is very oversaturated. It's getting harder and harder and harder to connect with people and keep their attention. And so if you were a brand and you were a logo, it's even harder to do that. We have to work twice as hard to connect with our audience as brands. Another issue I see, this would be number four, is the content is very corporate. As Kimberly mentioned, I come from a corporate background. I've worked for some larger companies where we had 30, 40 offices. And when your company gets that big, there's a lot of red tape around, right? There's a lot of things like, it's got to go to legal before we can post it. And then 3 weeks later, you miss the opportunity to make a post. Or it sounds very robotic in nature. There's no brand voice. It's very redlined. And I think that's clear when we see it as well. That kind of stuff is boring because it's just inauthentic. It doesn't really connect well with an audience. Number five, which I think is a really, really big one, and I know there's a lot of fear around this, particularly in my industry, is not tapping into employees and tapping into the audiences our employees have. Again, I think if you work for a larger company or you manage a staff, think about the demographics that play into those groups. We may have a lot of employees that are content creators and we don't even know it because we're not engaging them in that way. And they can be helping us tap into a larger network just by being active with our company on LinkedIn. And sometimes if we don't invite our employees to do those things, or we don't teach them how to do it, it just doesn't happen. And then I'm a firm believer, if our employees or our staff, our company, if we're not excited about the content we're creating and want to engage with it, why would our customers ever give a shit about it? So I think that's a huge one. Number six, I have seven. Okay, there's seven. There's seven oohs. Okay, not taking advantage of all of the available real estate on your profile, and I think this transcends from company pages to personal pages. Not enough taking advantage of the real estate, and what I mean by that is you have a banner, you have an image, you have your headline, you have your bio, and a lot of those things are actually very visible every single time we post. Every single time you post, someone sees your name, your headline, and a little bit about what you do. So when you're looking at people commenting on things or making posts, look at all of the things that you can read about that person just from your feed. I want you to do the same with company pages. And then the last one is not engaging enough. I see this a lot with my customers. Again, it's like we think we create it and it just sits there and it works on its own. And that's just not the case. I have a general contractor that I manage their LinkedIn profile. And right now they're having an issue with talent acquisition. We have no jobs posted on LinkedIn, and we have messages in our inbox from potential talent that's like, hey, I'm interested in working with you. when I saw that those messages went unanswered, I was like, hello. So yeah, you can turn on messaging now for company pages. You can invite people to send messages directly to your company page. And also just engaging in comments. If someone is tagging you in something or showcasing your company, saying, thank you for hosting us, thank you for this insightful information, reply back. I think people really want to be sure that there's another human on the other side of that account. I think that is the biggest thing, is just being a human, humanizing your brand and bringing that forth on the platform. Any questions so far? Do we do this? Do we stop for questions?
If you're our first speaker,
Oh,
3 minutes until
okay.
we want to like let everybody break out and
Yeah.
start their own stuff. So does anybody have any questions for Amanda? Anything they want to talk about with company pages?
And I have next steps. I do have guidance, so can keep going so we can get into the nitty-gritty.
I mean, like my
Yeah.
company page is nothing compared to my personal page. And I have a hard time bringing people there. So
Okay, let's talk about the parts of a company page, and then I'm going to give you an exercise. So I'll run through this really quick. Let's do like an audit. So I want you to think about the components of a company page, and let's think about auditing that, because I think, like I said before, I think a lot of companies migrated to creating company pages, and then they were like, what do we do with this? I think there's a lot of resurrecting of like, let me bring that back to life and see what I can do with it. So let's audit that page. Make sure you're completing all of your details, right? It's very sophisticated. When you go into your company profile, you can add a lot of details about your company. Don't skip over them, because these kinds of things help your company become more discoverable and findable as people are looking for you on the platform and off the platform. Let's think about Google as well. Taking advantage of all of that real estate again. There's calls to action that you can put into your profile. You can add the messaging feature. You can actually add, you can customize it. So you can pick from the drop-down menu. If you want to add a book now button, if you want to add a store button, if you're a product-based business, if you want to add just a simple visit our website, you can add those calls to action. There's commitments that speak more to like the social responsibility of companies. Again, I want you to think about this from the lens of, who am I attracting? Is it talent and customers? And what kind of commitments are important to those groups of people, right? Social responsibility. So for my industry, that might be, we build sustainable communities by implementing green lead standard, gold lead standards in all of our projects. That would be a commitment, right? What are the commitments that your company makes from a social responsibility standpoint? There are lead gen forms. And then one thing I would recommend is setting up an admin for your site, for your company page. I think that we get overwhelmed, and if there's someone that you like, using the example of the message from the potential talent coming in, we didn't see that, right? If someone was monitoring the page, if we had an admin set up on there that can be a second lens, we may have caught that kind of thing. So what I want you to do today, I have 3 steps. You can either do one of these things, you can do all of these things, or you can just say, I'm gonna do 2 of them. So you don't need to necessarily be sequential in nature. Number 1, I made a list of some of my favorite company profiles on LinkedIn that I want you guys to maybe look at. This might help you generate some ideas on how you can utilize your own business profile. So I intentionally put different businesses here. So number 1 is Death Wish Coffee. If you know me, my favorite, I'm a raving fan. I am a raving fan. I am the optimal type of customer that you want to create. Death Wish Coffee is it for me. Patagonia. I'm a big fan of Patagonia, very social, responsible company. They talk a lot, they break a lot of boundaries on LinkedIn. They start a lot of controversial conversations. And I think those are the types of things that we do to align with our real audience, right? Procore Technologies. is another one. This is an industry one for me. So this is a technology company. It's Procore. It's Procore Technologies. Ogilvy is a marketing company. He is like the mastermind of marketing. So that's probably why I love their page. So it's Ogilvy and Mather is the traditional name. Ogilvy is the LinkedIn page you'll look for. And then another one, which I think is really fun, is the Motor Enclave. I don't know if everybody's in Tampa in this group. The Motor Enclave is a motor community where they sell condos basically for your race cars. I think they have a really cool LinkedIn page. They do a lot of engagement. They share a lot of events that they're having. They're not just selling their condos on there. They're selling an experience. They're selling, this is what it's like to be engaged with this. So I think it's a good mix of businesses to take a look at. You've got a couple of B2C, you have one that's B2B, you have one that's a consultant, and then you have one that's selling luxury lifestyle kind of stuff.
So these are major pages. Do you have any like solopreneur pages that you would recommend? Because I mean, they have a lot to talk about and I'm one person, so.
Sure. Why don't can you and I talk?
Mhm.
How's that? Okay. Number 2 is the second step here, or if you want to just do this step, is audit your company page, evaluate some of those things that we talked about, those components of the pages. If you already have your company page created, I want you to go into that back end and look at all of the things that you can fill out about your company. And then I think this is also a great point. Anytime you're setting something up or auditing something, refining it, I think it's a great time to go back to maybe your website and other social platforms and think about how you talk about yourself. Are those things consistent across platforms? And then number 3 is I want you to brainstorm content and engagement ideas based on this. One thing I want you to keep in mind is that this is a statistic from Social Pilot. 60% of the users on LinkedIn are looking at knowledge-based content. They are looking for insights. They are looking for your unique perspective, whether that's your company. And going back to your question, I have nothing interesting to say. I doubt that. They are looking for your unique insights, our company's insights. How are we solving today's challenges? How is my team doing that? How am I doing that? If your customers wanted information, they would go to Google, but they are going to LinkedIn because they want insights. Kelly is you got that? Okay.
Got it. I made you a co-host in case you needed to share your screen.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. I wasn't sure about that. I was going to go through the pages, but this is better. The other statistic I want you to keep in mind is I think there's a misconception that LinkedIn is just a place to advertise your job postings. Not true at all. Content gets 15 times more engagement than job postings do on LinkedIn. 15 times more engagement. So people are not just on the platform looking for jobs or talent. They are on there trying to connect professionally, vet out companies. Does this company align with what I want to work with, et cetera, et cetera. So as you're brainstorming content, think about thought leadership pieces. And you don't have to have like a 9-page article published in order to put content on LinkedIn. Think about your low-hanging fruit. Think about content that you can bring over from another platform, whether that's a simple Instagram post. How can I make this more insightful for LinkedIn? How can I make this email more relevant for this platform? How can I make this page on my website a post on LinkedIn? So think about those things. Polls, simple posts, long content posts, articles from other websites. It doesn't have to be just things that you are creating and sharing. It just has to be relevant to your audience with your unique perspective on it. So I did that, I think, in 15 minutes.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to encourage you guys. I'm going to encourage you guys to put your questions in the chat, and Amanda can field those for you during this co-work time. I'd like to get everybody working on their LinkedIns. Wanted to just say one thing. Rodrigo is going to be our speaker next week, and his topic is about being a collaborator on articles and kind of sharing those insights. So I think that's a great segue. I just wanted to kind of mention that. And so make sure you're tuning in next week, or if you miss, check out the recording. And we're really excited about the speakers we have coming up after as well. So we've got some momentum going here. So I'm going to encourage you guys again, put your questions in. We will come back in 30-ish minutes. I'll give you a 5-minute warning. So this is the opportunity for you to start working on your own LinkedIn. So maybe today you apply some of the things that Amanda shared, or it could be starting from the basics. If this is your first time coming to the LinkedIn Collective, do you have those basic things on your profile, your cover photo? When's the last time you updated your headline? Is it SEO optimized? There's so many ways to get started. So feel free to use the chat if you need help. But I would like everybody to start working on their thing because that's the point of this group. So we'll see you back here at 5 minutes to the top of the hour. Okie dokie, let's bring it back. Love the chat today. We had so much great value in our chat. We could post just our chat with so much value. Thank you guys so much for hopping in today. Does anybody want to share what they accomplished?
Yeah, I will. I mean,
Yeah,
I
please.
went on to my business page and didn't realize that I had some of my profile section that needed to be filled out, that I had surpassed that. And then I did some updating on my credentials, like my certifications and stuff like that that were added, and just doing an audit like Amanda recommended. So I appreciate it. And I thank you guys so much for taking the time out of the day to do this. This was like super helpful, you know.
Yeah, we're so glad you came. We hope you'll keep it on your calendar. If you filled out the form, I'll look and see how if you wanted the emails or the calendar stakes, and we'll get you locked into moving forward. Thank you for your sharing. Anybody else want to share what they got done today?
Well, I'll just note that I did drop my LinkedIn guide and workbook into the chat. So there are some resources in there that focus more on individual pages. And we're talking about setting up another date so we can come back and talk more about solopreneur pages as well. But there's a lot of great content in that workbook, even just in terms of like creating a strategy. I saw that question come up, and Elāna, like Jordan asked a question on what should I do with my content, and Elāna's playing it out, right? But sometimes that's really hard to do. Like, where do I start? So in that workbook, I have all about creating a North Star for your business and for your LinkedIn. And I have more LinkedIn influencers in there that you can follow that actually focus more on marketing your LinkedIn page. So there's a lot of great coaches that I think I encourage you, follow people in your industry, follow influencers in your industry. It's a great way to just kind of tap into what can I be doing differently. And I'm not saying to copy everything that they're doing. What I'm more interested in is what are my competitors' customers doing? What is their audience doing? How are they reacting to this? So those are some things you can do as well. But yeah, I thought this was a great discussion.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelly. That's sweet.
Kelly, you want to share what you got done today?
Yes. So I went on LinkedIn and I did a couple of posts. I'm so thankful for this reminder because I am about to rebrand.
Oh,
So like new
exciting.
name, all that stuff. And so I'm still kind of working on some of those things. So I didn't want to go put a bunch of stuff on a page that I'm going to change anyway, but this is really good for when I think about creating the next one to be really intentional, because I definitely have all the things you said at the top, Amanda, 100% me. Those are all things that I've done
Good.
with my LinkedIn. Like
Oh, Kelly, a
all those
rebrand is
mistakes.
so exciting. I love
Yeah.
that. Really exciting. Let me know if I can lend any insight to that. We can grab coffee
Yeah.
or something.
Great. I love it.
Yay. Jen?
Yeah,
you want
everyone
to
feel
share?
free to connect with me too on
Yes, please.
LinkedIn. Yeah.
Amanda, feel free to drop your link in
Yeah.
Jen, you want to share what you got done today?
I like did total catch up because I haven't been on since last week. So like reading, reposting, commenting, a lot of engagement. And also thank you so much for like that mid check-in of don't be reading your email, get back. Like that was so key. I'm like, yes, because I am so ADD. I'm like rabbit hole.
Yes,
So
I
thank
know.
you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank
Of
you. And
course.
thank you,
I get it.
Amanda.
And it's true
you.
because being in this, like, you know, when you're running the show too, it's so easy for Kim and I to get distracted doing everything else too. We're like, all right, everybody's working. Now what do we need to do? And it's like, no, we created this space for us to work on our LinkedIn's, and we're just happy to have you all here doing it with us. So I have to remind myself. I totally get it. Plus, as I mentioned, I'm in Arkansas, so I'm like not at home. I'm in a hotel room, like, you know, so it's like totally different setup. All right. Well, thank you guys all for being here today. We truly appreciate it. Kelly, are you planning on being on the call next week?
I think so, as long as I'm doing a big workshop in Austin the following week, so as long as I'm ready for that.
Okay.
I'll be
Well, if you are, Kim is not, so maybe you can help be my co-host. If you're here. If not, no big deal. I'm sure I can manage. But yeah. All
For
right,
sure.
ladies. Well, thank you
If I'm
all
here,
for-
totally.
Awesome. Thank you guys for jumping on this week. We really appreciate
for
it.
having me.
I did put the Facebook event for next week, and if you guys could RSVP on Facebook, and then, you know, maybe invite a handful of friends so we keep spreading the word.
Absolutely.
And Amanda, we'll have you back in a few weeks. We'll figure out.
Yay.
Okay,
All right. Thank
awesome.
you. Bye, everybody.
Take care.